Welcome back to the podcast. It's day who knows of the quarantine. I'm going nuts. James is jacked, and John just drove in a straight line for a half hour. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. We got special guest Jack here today, and welcome back to the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. It's Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I am joined by my dear friend James. Also, producer John is in the building.
What's poppin'?
And our special guest, Jack Moran.
What's going on? Jack? What's up, boys? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Jack is host of Welcome to the Water Cooler.
Yep.
And he is here to talk some sports with us, talk a little bit about his stuff, and always a pleasure to see you, Jack. Jack and I worked together for a summer at the local football team, the Brockton Rocks, and we are also in fantasy football teams. He is in with Danny Football.
The GOAT League. Shout out Rob Marcello.
And Kamish, we got to go down to everyone.
And
Rob.
Kamish, yep. Noah, what's good? Your takes are awful. Putrid.
Yeah, Chef Noah is also a guest.
Yep, Chef Noah has been on here. Chef Noah has the wildest takes I've ever heard.
Will you please tell these guys that Chef Noah is I think triple G rated when he comes on for his hot takes. I don't think he comes out with any big hot takes on the show, but when in our group chat, it is wild. It is absolutely insane.
There is no way to describe Chef Noah except say he, besides my close friends, he unequivocally gets me the most irritated than anyone I've ever met. Purely because his takes are so outlandish that I think he's tripping acid every time he says something. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it. Oh my God.
What's the worst take you heard?
Well, let me just say the amount of times Jack has thrown him out of a group chat is unparalleled. He has been kicked out of a group chat more times than I can even count.
Sometimes you just can't deal with stupidity. Dude, what was his take about Sam Darnold? Was it he had AIDS or something?
He didn't have mono. He had AIDS. And that's why he was out for 3 weeks.
Not to mention, just put it this way. He had AIDS and missed three
or 4 weeks.
But Magic Johnson retired in a less physical game where you're less likely to bleed. I don't know. He's hilarious, though. I will give him. I always get a good laugh out of what he says. So
yeah, and he always stands by his take. If you argue with him, he'll say, well, if you look at it whether he's wrong or not, it's pretty he has his reasons.
What was his take on Larry Fitzgerald? I forget it. It was Larry Fitzgerald has an illegitimate child because someone he knows a cousin of
I didn't see this one.
Bro, oh my, I swear. It was something like that. It was wild. He's done, and it goes across the board. Any sport you can think of. James, he would probably have something about NASCAR that he'd have some crazy hot take. Oh, yeah.
He's absolutely unreal.
He would probably say that driver was in the right. That's a Noah take for you. No, not actually.
No, that's not a Noah.
No, it's not.
We're trying to get
He would probably say that, what was it? Was Ryan Newman the one that crashed that everyone thought he was dead?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I think so.
He would probably say that, he was exaggerating that. That would be a Noah take.
Or it was planned. He would
It was planned. It was WWE scripted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would script that.
That's the type of take that Noah normally comes out with.
He's a machine, dude. I gotta give it to him. I couldn't even think of this on my wildest dreams.
And he wears it. He'll take the punishment.
He wears a badge of honor with it, and I respect the hell out of him for it.
And that's why we have the chef on. I just wish he'd get a little more outlandish with his.
Dude, you're gonna get a couple beers into him. I bet he starts feeling himself with the takes after that.
He did come on at the beginning of the NFL season and said Jameis is a top 10 quarterback in the league. he said he was better than a lot of I forget, we'd have to go back in our footage, but he said like he was better than like say Dak or like
I think he's more talented than Dak.
Or like to the I don't know. He said like
I remember what you were he was talking about it. We all roasted him.
Yeah.
But like that's one that I agreed with, that I do think Jameis is kind of underrated in the sense that he's probably a top 10 talented quarterback in the league.
I think it's just the mental element. Like he can throw the ball crazy, but he's just like mentally he makes so many mistakes with the football. It's just like
I agree.
And it's like getting every year later. Like I was a biggest defender of Jameis, saying, "Oh, he's young, he'll figure it out." But maybe now, if he goes to a new system, maybe he will figure it. I don't know. It's just getting like too late in his career, where not late in his career, but it's like now he's 26.
Yeah,
and it's like
but still, you got to think 20. It's outlandish that he's not a starting quarterback somewhere. Just gonna say.
I agree. I think there's plenty of like the Chargers who want us. I get it. They want to kind of ride it out with Tyrod for a year and then get whoever they're drafting this year as their starter. I get that. But like the Dolphins who have Ryan Fitzpatrick, I would go with him. Even Tyrod, like if they're worried about saving money, like I would just say, okay, but like I don't think you really need to say you have nobody on your payroll really. And I think Jameis would work out well because they have some weapons there in LA.
See, I thought the perfect team for him was probably like the Bears. And don't get me wrong, they got Nick Foles, but I think you're a legit contender if you're the Bears and you have a quarterback that can actually throw the ball.
Yeah. I don't know. Matt Nagy, though, I don't think if you're saying does Jameis get better under his system, I don't think so. I think he's not that great of a coach. And
I agree with that, but he's like head and shoulders better than Mitch Trubisky.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like if we're looking at the next spot he goes, he has to clean up his interception rate. And if he goes to the Bears and just throws another like 50 picks, like it's just like it's not going to help anyone. I wish situations were different and the Patriots was an option for him because I feel like
I think he could be an MVP contender under Belichick.
I think so. I think he could be up in the conversation.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. It's not going to work with the Patriots. And maybe if he went to Miami, because Brian Flores, the small sample size I have, he's been doing really well as head coach.
I don't think he'd go to Miami because they're still a couple years from contending. They still want high draft picks. Plus, they have Fitz. And, like, realistically, Jameis probably wins you more games than Fitz.
Right.
But do you really want to – do you want to have, like, a low 20s pick or would you rather have a low teens pick?
I mean, they're loading up. They loaded up that defensive side. Like, they're not – I think they're drafting a quarterback, and this is their quarterback for the future. And then after that, it's like they're going teens pick or higher. They're going to try to make a playoff spot, especially now that the fact they've added another playoff spot into the – like playoff rankings. I feel like there's more chance to make it. You can be 8-8 and make a playoffs now.
I would legitimately be shocked if the Dolphins made the playoffs.
I
don't think they're there yet.
I don't think so either, but with a good quarterback, you saw what Ryan Fitzpatrick did last year with that team.
I also think Fitzpatrick is really underrated. Dude, he's been a gamer everywhere he's gone.
Yeah.
He's competitive when he plays.
Yeah. And it's also he doesn't care for his body, too. Like, he's not afraid to make those plays. But I agree. I think he's a little underrated. I think but I don't know. I don't really know. I think we talked about it last time on the show. Like, we talked about possible landing spots or a couple shows ago for, like, Cam and Jameis. And the couple spots I thought of were, like, the place that we talked about in the Lions, who, depending on how Stafford is, the Rams, like, who knows what they're going to do with they're kind of looking like they're rebuilding a little bit. But I don't know. They just traded Cooks to Houston.
Yep.
That's nice how you traded DeAndre Hopkins for Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. They essentially traded DeAndre Hopkins for Brandon Cooks, David Johnson, and a 4th-round pick. For the
sounds fair.
Arguably best receiver.
I think he's the best receiver in the league. I know we talked about.
Yeah, I do
that
too.
That can be debated. But.
Yeah, I mean, you can debate all day, but he's definitely top 3, hands down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy. So But yeah, we kind of got a little off track. Noah does that. Noah does get the conversation off track.
Noah gets the people going.
He does. He does add a little spark into a conversation. But it's great to have you. You want to tell us a little bit about your podcast and
yeah, sure. So like Steve mentioned, I have a podcast, Welcome to the Water Cooler. Started it last year, kind of faded off, just got busy with work, extracurriculars, everything. Just kind of restarted it at the beginning of quarantine, brought on Colin O'Brien, one of me and Steve. We worked together at the Rocks that summer. That's how we met. So me and Colin have been kind of doing our thing, have a couple episodes knocked out throughout quarantine. We're trying to do about 2 weeks, see how long that lasts. I know this week we're only going to do one because it is a little slow on the sports front. But yeah, so check us out. We're on Apple Music, Anchor FM, Spotify, Instagram. It's at WT the Water Cooler. And Twitter is WTT Water Cooler. So welcome to the Water Cooler. Give us a listen. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. I was on a couple weeks ago.
Steve was on. Week. What was it? I think it was
beginning of last week.
It might have been last Monday we recorded.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Honestly, and we don't talk sport. I mean, we do talk sports. We're trying to keep it open. The idea was anything that you could go, like I don't know, my thought process was you're at work. My work is a water cooler. Typically we were filling water like, oh, what'd you do this weekend? You catch the game last night. Just kind of anything, literally anything you could talk about that I guess people would be interested in.
Very nice.
Nice.
It's funny how they mention it because we kind of had that, how you said, like, welcome TT, like you had to have the 2 T's in there. It's like with ours, we had to have our Twitter at Big Red Zone 1. Like, who else? Like, it's weird how some of them have, like,
well, so I didn't want to do like a generic like at water cooler or something.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna do like water cooler sports, but then I was like, I wanted to keep it open, not just restricted to sports. And thank God, like I know in the last episode, me and Colin were kind of doing like an Ozark book club type thing. So, so we did a couple episodes last one, just finished season 1 of that awesome show. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend. But yeah, so it's like I tried to get the whole name in, but I just had to like mix and match because for whatever reason, welcome or WT the Water Cooler was taken on Twitter. I'm like, who the hell is else is doing?
That's what I'm saying. Like, who else has that title?
Big Red Zone, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. I'm definitely glad to come on here. I know me and Steve have been talking about it for a while, so quarantine was the perfect chance to get back into it. So,
yeah, and also with the Jack was also helping us out with the webcam situation because I know that's been a little bit difficult. We want to get those videos out to on our social medias and stuff like that because it adds like a special, like it adds something extra to the episode. You know what I mean? Instead of just the audio.
Oh,
so
yeah.
We're thankful for Jack for that, too.
Honestly, I kind of got the idea from you guys. I loved your setup. I know me and Steve had talked about it when you guys kind of started getting the cameras going. And the clips you guys were putting on Instagram, like the sweatshirt takeoff into the Brady jersey was electric.
A good one. That was a good one. That was
kind of outlandish that you wouldn't wear a Brady Patriots jersey, though. Got to say that.
Well, I did say I would wear it again, but I'm not going to wear it for different. Oh, Mookie, you got the jersey. I knew you got it.
I ordered one. I haven't ordered my Brady one yet, but it will be on the way. Those were my 2 guys. So Mookie was my favorite player since he came up. Well, since Ortiz retired. Brady, like, I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah,
well, I do want to talk about that. I got plenty to say about it.
Yeah, I'd say I will wear it again. If he came back to New England for like a game, I'd wear it. Or like in 2
Tampa's
years,
coming here next year. Yep.
In 2 years, he does, and which is kind of interesting because that's his last year.
I will absolutely
probably.
I'll be there for that. I don't care how much I have to pay for that. I'll go by myself. I don't care.
I'll go with you. I want to go.
Let's go. We're getting tickets.
So I guess that's a perfect segue into talking about the Brady discussion then.
Yeah.
The whole big,
lot to talk about there. First of all, I mean, I kind of saw it coming. The writing was on the wall for a while now. I was trying to have some optimism, but I said it a couple of days. I think the day before the news broke, even said, I'm like, with Danny Football, that was the sweatshirt day. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's going. And I said to Tampa, I was like, that just makes too much sense.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think so, which I don't get. It makes a lot of sense. But, Jack, what's your take on the whole situation? Like him leaving, his decision to leave? Do you think it's the right decision, wrong decision?
So Tom Brady is one of my top 2 favorite athletes of all time. So emotionally, I was not ready for him to leave. It hurt. I did see – so when he tweeted the picture and it said Pats Nation forever, I was like, let's go. And then I started reading it and I was like, oh, no. Like – because so someone had quoted it and was like, let's go. So I'm like, oh yeah, like, I mean, I can't even say what I like yelled out, but, because that was the first week we were on quarantine, actually. Well, yeah. I was on quarantine with work. I was working remote that week, and literally, I was just so miserable the rest of the day. But kind of sitting there and thinking about it, it makes sense, like you said. I mean, I've had a feeling he was going to leave for a couple of years, but then obviously he always came back. And I was like, he's gone after this year. And then I convinced myself into he was staying. Like, he's not going to go start somewhere else at 42 years old or 43 years old. So I was shocked. I didn't think he would leave. And our COO, every time he's in town, he's like, oh, did you hear Brady signed here? Just busting my chops. Yeah. He emails me afterwards. He's like, I can't even imagine how upset you are right now, so I'm not even going to mess with you. He was just like, I can't believe it. And I was like, neither can I. But I do think it makes sense, to be honest. Like you said, Steve, I think it's a really good fit. I thought, realistically, if he was going to leave, it was going to be for Tampa, because now he's got 2 of top 10 receivers in the league, top 15 receivers in the league. Yeah. Mike Evans is already the most talented receiver he's ever played with besides Randy Moss. No one else. Yeah. He's 6'5", a big body. No one's matching up with him.
Right. And Chris Godwin's speed, that, no one's matching his speed. Also, you throw in, he has, I think I can't remember the total, but he has 1 or 2 solid tight ends down there.
2. Cameron Brate
and
O.J. Howard, plus this whole Gronk's coming back.
I have a hot take for you about O.J. Howard, by the way.
Let's hear it. I'm ready.
So technically, the Patriots still have Gronk under contract.
If you say what I think you're going to say, I've had the same take, so I'm interested.
I think that they're going to trade Gronk if he wants to go there. Yeah. Trade Gronk for O.J. Howard. Because O.J. Howard isn't working out in the system. I think Bruce Arians has quoted different things about not looking down on him, but not in the positive light of O.J. Howard.
Yeah.
And I think it's like Jameis. I think his kind of time is done with them. I really do. So I feel like if they want to do that, the Pats will trade Gronk and a pick for O.J. Howard. And
I wouldn't even give up a pick.
You may have to though.
But that's the
Gronk sat a year. If you throw in a low round draft pick, that sweetens the deal to get.
Okay, I would do a 7th round pick, but
I would go as high as 6 too. I'd give a 6th, 7th round draft.
I don't even think I don't want to give up draft picks for it because 1, they're openly known to be trying to trade O.J. Howard. They did all last year. They sat him last year. He was a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
Or inactive, whatever it's called in football. Gronk, it's openly known that he's only going to go there he's only going to catch passes from Tom Brady. So the only way he's going to come back is if we either release him or we trade him there. So
we're not releasing him.
I think a Gronk for O.J. Howard trade straight up makes sense.
Did Gronk not sign with WWE?
He did, but
it was only a one. It was for whatever reason I thought he was signing a longer contract.
No, it's not a long term. It's a limited contract for that.
Is it? Yeah. I mean, he can still appear.
I'm pretty sure with his contract, it doesn't include a certain amount of airtime or a certain amount of events. So he could theoretically still be in contract with them by not really doing much and do NFL stuff. And then he's fully done with the NFL, go back to WWE. I think he has that kind of flexibility.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't read into that, but I know they've done that before with Brock Lesnar in the UFC. So.
That's true. I don't know. Do I think he's actually going to come back? I really can't say. I don't think he's coming back to the NFL, but if he did, if he said he wants to go play in Tampa, I think he's going to get traded to Tampa because the Patriots aren't going to release him. Bill's not an idiot. He's going to get – even if it's not O.J. Howard, it just makes sense that, like, they're not going to carry 3 tight ends.
I'd even take a pick for Gronk, to be honest.
I would take it. That's what I'm saying. He's going to get at least a pick for Gronk.
I don't want to give up a pick, though. If I'm giving something up, it should only be Rob Gronkowski. And, yes, he took a year off, but you could be like, all right, now he's fresh, and he hasn't been for years.
Right. But he's also, like, I don't know how many pounds under what he was. Like, I don't know. He's, like, a different player. He's, like, a year removed. I think you may have to, like, to get the deal sweetened, I think you need to add a 7th or 6th round pick. But I don't know. I would rather do a straight up trade. Yeah. But I'm saying to get it done, I'm willing to give up a 6th or a 7th round pick.
It all depends at that point how interested Howard is in working within the New England Patriots system.
It really comes down to how much the Tampa Bay wants to get Rob Gronkowski, like, because they already said they're not going to pursue Antonio Brown, which I thought they were. So I don't know if it really matters. Like the weapon, like Tom could want Gronk all they want, and they'll try to like adhere to him. But if Bruce Arians and them are happy with their tight end situation, specifically Brait, I think like I don't know if they'll take the chance and they'll try to ride it out with what they got.
I think it would make sense for them to do it. 1, you show Tom you're committed to him. 2, I would say Gronk at 90% is still significantly better than O.J. Howard or Cameron Brate.
Oh, very
Plus,
true.
like,
agreed.
You really can't say they're that set on their tight end situation if they're pursuing moving O.J. Howard.
I don't think they're pursuing – are they definitely pursuing O.J. Howard? Or did they,
I don't know specifically, but I remember all last year it was like O.J. Howard on the trading block, O.J. Howard on the trading block, O.J. Howard on the trading block. And honestly – if I'm Brady, I'm like flip Howard straight up for Gronk. You lose the headache. I don't even think Howard's a headache. I don't think
he is either.
I don't think Arians likes him.
Yeah.
But honestly, Brait is probably the second best tight end Gronk would have played across from besides Hernandez. Which also brings me to my next point. I do think O.J. Howard. I think Belichick could use him in a Hernandez-like situation.
Yeah, that's true. And I think they're going to draft a tight end as well in this draft. Hopefully Thaddeus Moss. But I think they're going to draft the tight end, and then maybe if they can get Howard, who's still kind of young, they can have those two work tandem and go with a 2 tight end set.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I'd rather just trade for OJ and not draft a tight end because I don't think we're going to go for that. I think all of us are so Thaddeus Moss just for the Brady to Moss connection duo, and now that it's gone, like I don't really care if we get the Thaddeus Moss.
I liked him though.
I do like him.
I like him as a tight end, like regardless.
I do like him, but at the same point, like if it say they were to pick like a tight end in the 2nd round, would you rather?
They can't. They don't have picks.
Oh, okay. Sorry, 3rd round.
I'd take him as one of our late 3rd round picks. I'd take him.
We do have a couple, I guess. But, like, say our earliest 3rd round pick, we have so many other needs or things we could – like, first off, we don't know how Stidham is. Like, you could draft this stud tight end, but if Stidham stinks and you don't have anyone throwing the ball to him, what good does it do you?
That's why you drafted QB in the 3rd round too.
I guess that brings me to my question I have for you guys. What do you think about Stidham?
Do you want to go first, James? What's your
Well, I've said this in the past. I'm going to say this again. I do not have enough data with him to really have any sort of formal opinion. What I will say is a limited amount. I have seen him on the field. I was not impressed. That being said, I have a little bit of hope with some players that are really supporting the fact that he's putting in a lot of hard work. And supposedly during some early practice, he's been doing really well. But really, I'll be honest with you, I'm not placing any faith in him because I don't have enough data. I don't have really any good examples of him actually playing on the field. He could be good. Who knows? But really, the Patriots as an organization right now, in terms of their roster, is not very good either. They have a lot of gaps. They have a lot of issues. And even if he is a half-decent quarterback, until they fix those problems, you won't really know because he doesn't really have a big team to throw to.
Hey,
so you still have a receiver problem. You still have a tight end problem. You still have even really running backs, too, as well. Like, you don't really have any star players. And you still have Edelman, who he's doing the best he can, but he's been hurt so many times. Who knows how much longer he can keep this up? So
sidebar, your beard is looking fresh. You just came to the full screen. You look, I don't know what it is, but you're looking good on that side of the screen. Yeah, you're looking good, nice. Jane. The lighting's looking great. Yeah. It looks clean. You got a clean. I'm like gonna back away from the camera now.
I need
the shame.
I got nothing else to do, man. Like, you know.
Look, it popped up the screen, and I was like, man, look at that. Right. But yeah, I always said the next quarterback in the New England Patriots isn't going to be the next franchise quarterback. I don't believe that. I think he's going to be a bridge guy, and I think Stidham is the bridge guy for whoever comes in next. I think, and that's up for debate in the draft. Who you want to draft, or do you want to try to get a good pick for next year's quarterback? I just don't think he's the guy. I think he's gonna. That said, I think he's gonna get you 9-10 wins this year.
I don't think we get that many.
I went through the schedule. Bring it up again. I have this argument.
Dude, we have a tough schedule.
Here's the big contending factor here. A lot of this depends on what our defense is going to look like. If our defense is anywhere as good as we were this last season, I do see the potential 8-9 wins. Just even if Stidham is,
You don't think he gets you 500?
No. I think we're looking at I would say 500 is like the ceiling this year.
Really?
I hope I'm wicked wrong.
I put the to be a successful season, I say 9-8, 9-7 is that's what I think they're going to be.
If we went 9-7 and got a wild card, I'd be like, all right, let's roll.
Right.
But I just don't think we will.
I just want to stick with what I've said originally a couple episodes ago. I think 10 wins is our ceiling with the team if we have a good draft. The odds are it's going to be 8, and low end is going to be 7. I think that is our entire range, and I think 10 is if we get a good draft and we get everything that we want to have go our way. That is as good as you can do. If they manage 11, I will be doing backflips outside. I'll be amazed.
Let me throw this out at you.
Mm-hmm.
First game of the season, they're at Buffalo. I'll concede a loss on that.
That's a loss.
I concede a loss. At Houston,
loss.
I think I would give you a loss, even though they gave up a lot on.
Also, you're probably looking at the same thing that I am. This is just broken. I don't think this is in order, is it?
I think so. I don't know. Oh, they haven't come out with dates yet, but this is just a list of the games. At Kansas City, that's a loss. At the Chargers, I think that's a win.
That's a win.
Against the Rams,
who knows? I mean, if Cam goes there,
I think even so, I think that's a game that you're in. I do think they can be in that.
That's
game.
Winnable. That's a winnable.
The Rams. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if they'll win these games, but I think it's winnable games.
Yeah.
I think that those games are winnable. The Rams game, I think it's winnable.
I think it's winnable, but I don't think you're likely to win.
I think it's a toss. I'd give that a toss-up, to be honest with you. And it may be a little bit of my home pride. I'm I think they can do it. But I've seen what the Rams are giving up already. They gave up. They're kind of cleaning house on a lot of their team, and they don't have a first-round pick in this draft. They don't. I think their closest pick is in the second round. They have a couple picks in the second round. But they don't have any first-round picks, so I don't think they're adding anything special. You're losing Brandon Cooks, who is one of your top. They do have Woods and.
Didn't they just trade for someone though?
They just traded Cooks.
No, I know. Rams wide receiver. For some reason, I thought they just picked up another receiver too, or maybe I was reading a mock draft and they think they're going to take one in the early round.
No, they haven't. They didn't just trade for a wide receiver. No, they traded away Brandon Cooks.
No, I knew that, but I thought they brought in. Oh no, sorry, it was they traded Hopkins and brought in Cooks.
That's what it was.
I imagine they'll probably take an early first or second round receiver.
They don't have, so they'd have to take it in the second round. So they could. They don't have a first round pick because of the Jalen Ramsey trade.
Ah, okay. I forgot about that.
They got rid of a bunch of years of first-round picks. So anyway, and they haven't had first-round picks in the last few years. At least last year. I don't know.
Bryson's Goff because they gave up a crap ton.
Plus, they gave up a bunch for Ramsey. That was the thing. They gave up 2 or 3 worth of first-round picks for him.
They have not been planning at all in that organization.
No, dude, it's Madden. It's how I run my Madden franchise. I go for a championship and say F it.
Yeah.
My friends hate when we do Madden franchises because, like, one year I went like 15-1, ended up with like J.J. Watt, Von Miller, Aaron Rodgers. This is like in Madden 18, and they were pissed, and we just stopped in like the third year because the first year I was awful, got fired, went to a different team, traded away all my picks, got studs, and blew everyone out, and they were pissed, so we just stopped. And it's like, all right, dude, like what? Like I don't care. The point is to win.
Right.
I don't care about a first-round pick from 3 years. We're not going to do 5 seasons of this. Like.
Right. But anyways, I like getting back to the schedule. I think that that's a game that they can win, even though it's in LA. I just don't see them. I think they're kind of leaning towards. They're not going to say it, but I think they're leaning towards on the verge of a rebuild. Miami, I think they can win that game.
I think you split with Miami.
I think they win both.
But that's the thing. You lose to Miami every year when they stink and you had Tom Brady.
Well,
now they're better.
Maybe Tom can't beat Miami.
I guess.
You don't know. I just think that that's a winnable game. I look at it. I don't know if they'll win these games, but I'm just looking at winnable games. At Buffalo at home, I think that's a winnable game. I give that a winnable game at home. I think you split with Buffalo this year.
I think, I don't know, dude. I think Buffalo's going to be good this year.
I think
Josh Allen's going to take the next step.
I think they're going to win the division. Yeah, but I
already bet on them to win the division.
I think they're going to win
underdogs.
The division, I think they'll split. Miami at home, I think that's a winnable game. The Jets at home, that's a winnable game. Yeah. Denver so far, I think that's a winnable game, but I
think Denver's going to be a surprise team this year.
That's what I'm saying. They just got Melvin Gordon, and we'll see if Locke takes the next step.
I think Locke is kind of the underrated, forgotten guy from last year.
I think he's kind of like Allen in a sense. Like people don't really look at him as like a solid play. Like people don't give respect to Josh Allen.
They don't. I think Josh Allen's a gamer, dude. He'll win you games with his legs.
Yeah. But I think I'd have to see them play a couple games, but I think that's definitely like a winnable. Judging off what I saw last year, I think that's a winnable game.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's home.
Yeah,
you're not going to Denver, so I think that's a winnable game for them. Mm-hmm. Vegas, I think that's a winnable game because you're home, and I don't have much faith in that. And they could lose it, but I think I think they win that game. Arizona at home isn't interesting. I got to see how that Hopkins.
We stink against running quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well.
And we lost all of our linebackers.
You're going to draft a bunch of 7th-round guys that are just going to be all pros. That's how it's going to happen.
Not as rookies, though.
Yeah, I know. Chase Winovich, he's going to be a stud this year.
Yeah.
So Arizona, I would even say, all right, we'd have to see, but I don't think that's looking good. San Francisco, I'd kind of chalk that up to a loss. Baltimore, I'd chalk that up to a loss. The Jets, I think that's a winnable game. And Seattle, I think that's a loss. Yeah. So if you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-ish. 8 or 9 games. I think when I originally did this, Arizona didn't have Hopkins, and I said that's a winnable game. Yeah. So I've kind of taken them out of it. So you're looking at 8 to 9 wins. I think that sounds reasonable. And then, looking at it, there'll be a random game that you think there's no way they're going to win that game because it's happened every year the Patriots have played. Yeah. There'll be games that
we'll lose Houston, to the Dolphins, but we'll beat the Ravens for no reason.
Or Houston, we'll somehow figure out how to pull out a win in Houston. I think that's not crazy. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that's a possibility. I think 8 to 9 wins is. I would expect 8 wins. I could see 8 wins. 10 wins is that's asking a lot.
I'm looking through here and I'm looking. I see 7 and 9. Maybe we'll get 8 and 8, like you said, but I don't know. I just think it's one of those. It's so unknown because we don't know what Stidham is. Kind of going back to what you were saying, James. We don't have enough tape on him. I was pumped when we drafted Stidham. I liked him in Auburn. I don't think Auburn kind of used all his skills, and everything I've read so far is people Stidham's going to be good.
Yeah.
And I was pumped when we took him. I'm like, perfect, dude. 3 years, he'll take over as starter. Brady will ride off into the sunset. And now we're here, and I'm like, I don't know if he's ready in his second year.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's a bridge guy. I don't think – and I think that's anyone. Like, if you put Cam Newton on this team, he'd be a bridge guy.
Yeah, I
because
agree with that.
anyone that follows Tom Brady is not going to be the starting quarterback because everyone's going to be so critical of this guy. They're going to be like, oh, he's not like Brady. He's not like Brady. And you're not going to find another guy like Brady. But the next – sorry, go ahead, James.
I think the thing is, though, what you're getting at is are even the Patriots looking for someone like Brady or someone different that's going to be better in a different way? So, for instance, Brady – was great at making decisions, and he was great at putting the ball where it needed to be, but he was never really an athletic quarterback. The question becomes now, are the Patriots going to be looking for someone that is more well-rounded than Brady? So it's not necessarily going to be, you're never going to find someone like Brady, true, but also, will someone like Brady continue to be as successful in the NFL the way it's going? Because remember, this league is constantly changing.
Yeah.
And Brady really did set kind of a standard for also, 10, 12 years. He was, fantastic. But is that going to continue? Is that style of play going to really be as dominant? I would say no. The way the league's going, more mobile. It's going faster. It's going quicker.
Which is why
keep evolving that way.
I think if you give Belichick like when Lamar was in the draft, Belichick was a big fan, and I'm pretty sure we had the pick and traded it away.
Well, we had 2 chances to draft him. We had 2 first-round picks, and we passed on him twice.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Because we drafted Sony and we drafted Win. Yeah.
I was pissed when we took Sony too.
Mad. I was so mad.
My buddies have videos of me. We were sitting. It was obviously a Thursday night. It was senior spring, so up at school. We're all we're pregame watching it. And it was with the 31st pick. I was pissed we took Win, too, because I thought you would have taken him and play him at guard because I still think he's undersized to be a tackle.
Right.
So I was like, what the hell is going on? And then 31, it was Sony Michel, running back, University of Georgia. And they have videos of me being like, what the are you doing? And obviously I looked like an idiot come playoffs that year. Yeah. But in hindsight, I don't think you should draft running backs first round. I don't think you should pay running backs. I think McCaffrey's a special case because he is legitimately their entire offense. But
Barkley?
But I think Barkley's a generational. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's certain guys, Le'Veon Bell, in his prime, I would pay him whatever he wants.
Yeah. Okay. I guess besides, your top 5 running backs, there's no reason Devonta Freeman should have been getting $10 million.
No.
And it's also circumstantial, I think. Say if you're the Dallas Cowboys, if you let Zeke go and let Dak walk and sign Winston and use a second-round pick on a running back and use your first-round pick elsewhere and still had cap space, do you think this would be a better football team?
I think it also depends because, it's weird with the NFL how it works is if you let sometimes you let guys walk like Brady, you're taking a cap hit regardless.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you trade guys away or release guys, you're taking a cap hit on them for that year.
You could have, if you didn't franchise Dak, he wouldn't be on your books. Right now he's on your books for, I think it's 32, 33, whatever. And Zeke is getting 15. So say even if he was getting 5. So you would have, if you didn't extend him and used a pick next year after his contract was up, I don't know. That's how I think.
Zeke's a top running back. He's an unbelievable
but their O-line's
talent.
so good.
I'd still I wouldn't want to get rid of Zeke. And if I was going to get rid of Zeke, you'd have to trade him because he's so good. You can't
agree
just
with
let
that,
him walk.
But at the same time, David Johnson was that good 2 years ago. Lifespan of running backs are so quick.
Right. But also David Johnson, what was his height? A season, maybe?
Oh, look at Gurley now. I love Gurley. Gurley's my favorite running back, arguably ever. But, it's his knee, bro.
Yeah. And he's got arthritis. Once you get arthritis in there, that's in both. Doesn't he have it in both knees?
Pretty sure.
Yeah. He has it in both knees. But I see what you're saying because the lifespan for say a running back is so different than a wide receiver or quarterback or something like that, because they're constantly getting pounded by guys that outweigh them by over 100 pounds. Like it's like, so I get what you're saying.
I think it's different with McCaffrey, obviously, because he had 100 receptions last year. Like
he is their entire team.
Yeah. I think he's like the first person to ever have over 2,500 yards rushing and receiving, which is kind of wild. But
yeah, that's a regret I'll have forever in fantasy football. In most of my leagues, taking either Kamara or Barkley over McCaffrey in every single one of my leagues.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying. But I too was so disappointed when they took Michelle. I remember saying all day they're going to draft Lamar Jackson. I said that the entire day they were going to take him. I got the O-line because they had some holes to fill in the O-line, but the Sony Michelle pick, I was shocked. But I think to that point, I think Belichick wants James. You were mentioning he wanted to like go to a different version, like a more mobile quarterback. I think he has. He's shown. Look at the last few quarterbacks. He's either been rumored,
Garoppolo,
Brissett, even Lamar Jackson, who he was rumored to get, Danny Etling, even though he wasn't really like he wasn't going to be
Danny, Mr. 85-yard.
Right, he's a quick and remember when that happened? Like Belichick made a joke about that. We haven't been able to do that in like 20 years. So like I think he's been hinting and showing signs like he wants to go that route. He just couldn't do it because you can't just say when Tom's winning Super Bowls, you can't say, "Oh, I want to go with a more mobile guy."
Yeah. Or if you do, Kraft steps in and you have to trade him.
Right.
Which I dislike the fact that Kraft stepped in there. I think as an owner, you're kind of overstepping your bounds. I know some owners like to. I always prefer the owners that kind of shut up and let the people that, are more knowledgeable than you handle that situation. Not to dish on Kraft because he's, not a bad dude, but, I really think when Belichick wanted to move off Brady, I completely understand it.
I think normally I agree with you, but I think Brady's a special circumstance, seeing that he's been your franchise guy and at that point had brought you to what?
Oh yeah,
already had 4 rings at that point.
I think it was 4 rings at that point.
I think at that point it made sense. And honestly, we got 2 more Super Bowls out of it. So what do I care? Like
it might have been 5 rings because
it might have been.
Because I think what happened was they traded him. They traded Jimmy the year they won the Super Bowl against the Falcons. I think, and then he went to, not counting that year because he really.
Oh no! So it was the Eagles year because
Eagles year he came.
Yeah. Okay. So we still won a Super Bowl afterwards,
and we went to 2. We went to 2 Super Bowls because Jimmy
would have had 3 rings if he won it this year.
Yeah. So he went during the Falcons Super. Right? He went during the Falcons Super Bowl, I thought Jimmy was traded away before the Falcons Super Bowl. Or was it before the Eagles Super Bowl?
I think it was during because it was 2017.
Eagles run. It was.
Because 2016 was the Falcons when Jimmy started.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you look at it from the trade perspective, going with Brady brought you to 2 Super Bowls and you were 1 for 2.
And it's not like
it wasn't
Garoppolo. Yeah, exactly. He had 500 yards and
he broke every record for passing that game. So in the grand scheme of things, that move and it got you to, it was bad luck. Last year was just bad luck overall for the Patriots.
Think Brady was kind of checked out too.
He was checked. He said it in the Howard Stern interview.
Yeah,
he was pretty much. He was like he knew he wasn't coming back all last
year.
Yeah. But that's something. Another question I have for you, Jack, is: did you listen to the Howard Stern?
I did. I listened to almost the whole thing. It was interesting. It was kind of revealing. Yeah, I mean, he was talking about him crying the night he told Kraft he was leaving. I cried the night he told us he was leaving.
Yeah. No, I don't know how much I believe that. I think some of that was BS. I don't know if
I don't know, dude. That was pretty candid. Like, I don't think that was scripted. Because there was some things that Stern answered that I'm like, I feel like Brady would not answer that.
Yeah. I don't know.
I thought it was interesting though.
I don't think he held back as much as he usually does, but I think he still didn't say like there's a few things like there was one question where he actually answered. He's like, what do you think about the people that say like you couldn't win it without Belichick and Belichick couldn't have won without you? Normally Brady would be like, I'm not answering that question like that. He did say like he can't play for me and I can't coach the game like him. You know what I mean? He said we needed each other, but normally he would just say, like, Bill's a great coach and I'm very lucky to have him. He actually did say, like, without saying it, I don't know if this is reading too much into it, but he said, like, he made the point to say, like, you're right, I wouldn't be where I'm at without Bill, but Bill wouldn't be without where he is without me. Like, normally Brady, I don't think would say that.
I agree.
So
And
I think that was kind of cool to see that too.
How do you, like, on a scale of like 0 to 100, like, would you say it's like 50-50 Brady Belichick, or what does that look like for you guys in your opinions?
Well,
go ahead, because I don't know.
Okay, so that's something that I actually have thought about in the past, and it's a bit of a breakdown because really the Patriots have had so many different roster changes where they've looked like almost completely different teams surrounding Brady so many times. But the consistent thing has been Brady has always been at least average, if not better, quarterback, and Belichick has always been doing well coaching. However, I'm going to have to make a controversial position and say that I think slightly more, it's going to be like 55 to 60% Belichick on that one. Only because Tom Brady manages, yes, himself, and he does help with some of the plays and stuff, but Belichick has the entire team to manage overall. So I feel like he's responsible for a higher percentage of the team actually winning. That being said, Brady's still doing a fantastic job. He's I think 40 to 45% responsible. But I would have to edge more towards Belichick on that.
Yeah, I mean, from my end, it's tough because, like, you could look at it both ways. Like, Belichick even says himself, it's a player's game. Like, the players, and I say that from my coaching, like, it's a player's game. The players go out and get wins. And normally, and like he says, coaches get you losses. So, like, that's kind of how they look at it. It's a player's game. They got to go out and make the plays. But at the same time, Belichick puts you in the right spots to win games. Like, he puts players in the spot to win games. Like, going over a play that he saw maybe once or thought that they may run in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks, ended up winning them a Super Bowl because he knew Malcolm Butler practiced that in that week to going into that Super Bowl. Yeah. So I feel like it is a player's game. I mean, it's a player's game. Tom's got to go out and make throws, and how many times have we seen him lead so many comebacks that is like he just made so many great throws. But Belichick has also game plan and put different players in the right spot to win the game. So I don't know. It's like I put it 50-50. I think it's more like if you took Bill out of there, I don't think Tom would be as what he is now. But I don't think if you took Tom out of there, I don't know where Bill would be at the same time.
You guys see the subtle shade that Brady threw at Belichick when he did his thank you letter? I don't know if you guys already mentioned this or whatever, but remember when Brady posted that big like thank you thing on Instagram?
Yeah.
He didn't mention Bill Belichick in the thank you.
So really?
Really?
I didn't even notice that.
Didn't mention him. He mentions them by name once in the whole like big paragraph, whatever. And this is what he says. By the way, this is Tom Brady's quote. By the way, in the 6th round, it's not like Coach Belichick himself is on the other end of the line. I think it was his assistant, blah blah. We just want to let you know that the New England Patriots are selecting you. It wasn't Belichick that called me. That's the only mention of Bill Belichick in the thing. And then later on, at the end of it, he goes on to thank the New England Patriots organization, Robert Kraft, this person. Never mentions Belichick.
Well, I kind of get it because he maybe feels like he doesn't want to mention Belichick because he thinks Belichick's kind of left him out to dry and just wants to move on from him. So I get if he's a little bit, kind of annoyed or over it, just doesn't want to really mention it. Or maybe, hear me out, maybe it's because he doesn't have anything to really say to him about it. Maybe he's already said his piece and moving on with the whole Belichick situation.
Yeah, I think we won't find out until someone that was a Patriot during the golden years writes like a tell-all.
Yeah.
A book.
I will say, like, he did say in the Howard Stern thing how much he loves Belichick, and Belichick.
Oh, did he?
Okay. That, like,
yeah, he did.
Like, he went on. He had like a 5-minute discussion on how much he loves Belichick, which that's also weeks after him announcing he's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as time goes on, I think that I think there was like.
I think there was issues.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I brought it up. I just want to bring up the possible animosity.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, you go.
I just was going to say, I think that after like 20 years of working with someone and like in a competitive, atmosphere, it's only normal that there's going to be animosity. Like, if you think about it, he's asking for Belichick to put pieces around him. He's asking to get like the best contract he can. He wants to keep winning. They're both competitive. Like, I think it's only natural that there's some kind of like friction there. And 20 years is a long time. We don't see that a lot in sports.
I mean, they just had a divorce.
Right.
Like,
that's what it is.
You're not going to be raving to, like, I don't know, like someone's going to ask you. You're not going to give a glowing review of your ex-wife. Like, especially
like the day or two after you get the divorce.
So it's like,
you know, as time goes on, you start to reminisce. You may say, hey, you know, there was some good times with this person. Deep down, I really do love this person. And the more time goes by, that relationship gets back together. I think
plus, like, if you noticed, he did say something. He's like, yeah, like, I'm not closing the door on New England. Like, I'm just going to Tampa for now. That was obviously I reworded that, but like,
yeah. Well, I said there's always the option, but I think it depends on how Stidham does this year, because if they draft a quarterback like I think they're going to do, and Stidham doesn't have a good year, has a mediocre year, and they stick with him, maybe if things don't work out in Tampa, maybe he comes back. Do I think that's going to happen? No. But there is a chance maybe he retires a Patriot. There's a small window.
I think he retires a Patriot in the sense that he at least signs a one day.
Yeah, I think that's not out of it. I'm saying like a signs for like a season or does like a KG trade back for the last half of the year. Like I think, and that's very like I think there's a small chance it happens, but there is a chance it happens. I haven't ruled that possibility out yet.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing in Tampa, this is what I was going to ask you guys. We kind of talked about it before. I'm not sold that they're going to be Super Bowl champs. Like, I'm not sold this team is like a Super Bowl contender. I think 12 to 13 wins is what they'll get. I think 12 wins is like a good season for them. But I wouldn't be surprised if they got 10, 11, 12 wins. I wouldn't be surprised if they're anywhere.
I think they'll absolutely make it to the playoffs.
Oh, I think so too. I'm not saying they won't make the playoffs, but these people that are saying this is like a Super Bowl team, put the Lombardi Trophy in Tampa.
No.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's a guarantee, especially when you got like San Francisco. We know how good that they are. Kansas City, like, but I would say they're already a top 5 team in the NFL.
I mean, they're definitely going to be the second best football team in Tampa Bay history.
Followed by
Fang Gang. Pipe up.
Was Fang Gang.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. That's very sad news to this podcast.
See, I was a roughneck guy.
James was a roughneck guy.
What was it? 5? I don't even know what they were. 5-0 or something, but
it was like
undefeated.
Undefeated.
Let's go.
They never lost a game. I got to give them credit.
Yep.
I got to give them credit.
PJ Walker is elite. Cam Phillips, elite.
I can't wait for them to get cut the last week of training camp.
No way, dude. They already traded away. PJ Walker will be on the team. Where did Cam Phillips go? Did he go to Indy?
I got to look it up. I can't remember where he went.
Cam Phillips.
But my point is with that in that division alone, look at what you got. You got a Saints team, elite. You got, I think, that's not going to be an easy win against Teddy Bridgewater and.
Yes, it will. They're going to stink, bro. They're going to stink. They had a historically bad year on defense, and then they lost defensive starters and haven't replaced them.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to be like just a runaway 2 games for them. I really don't. Especially for that, I don't think so. Plus, his O-line is terrible. It helps that Brady gets the ball out so quick, but their O-line is not good.
But that's the thing. And their O-line has improved. Their defense the second half of last year was pretty good. And they got people back from injury, and they added. I don't know. I think they're going to be pretty good.
And oh my God, the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to be pretty decent this year.
Yeah, I do think the Falcons kind of do that every other year.
Yeah, but if you look at it, the way I see it is you got good games. Your division is just so tough. I wouldn't be surprised if they split with the Saints. I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow split with the Falcons. And then I haven't really looked. I remember looking at when he first signed, but.
All right, I'm looking at the schedule right now. even say you split with Atlanta and New Orleans.
Right.
Say you lose both away games.
Right.
All right, lose to Atlanta. Should beat Carolina. Chicago, you don't know how Foles is going to be, but I'd say that's more than likely
And
a
the
win.
defense. Like, the defense had an off year last year. I think the defense was, like, the best defense I've ever seen 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So who knows how that defense will turn around.
But I still think they're better than Chicago. They're better than Denver. They're better than the Detroit. They could lose to New Orleans at New Orleans. The Giants, they should smack at New York. They should beat the Raiders at Las Vegas. Home, you should beat the Falcons. Carolina, you should beat home. You should beat New Orleans. And then they got home versus Green Bay. Should win. Home versus Minnesota.
That's not a guarantee, though.
I think Green Bay is – it depends how Green Bay's draft is.
Yeah.
Rodgers is a year older. He didn't look himself last year.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if we're looking at – I would consider that game the same as a Houston game for us. I put that in the
I
same –
wouldn't because we don't have Tom Brady. I think Houston's better than Green Bay. They're D.
I don't know about that. That's another discussion. Go on. Keep going.
Minnesota, tough game. I'll give you that.
Is that home or away for
home? So Green. Their 6 hardest games are all home.
Okay.
Saints, Packers, Vikings. Kansas City's probably a loss, but you never know. Chargers should be a win regardless, and then they should beet the Rams. But again, you never know what the Rams.
It's hard to tell how they're going to be.
I would say
how many losses would you put in there? Thinking they're going to beat KC. The KC's going to beat them. You think they're going to split with them?
Going through gut reaction.
Do you think that? I think from what you said, there's going to be like 4 losses around there. Around 4. 2 in the division.
I would say probably like 11-5, 12-4. That's where I think they'll be.
That's what I think they're going to be at. But everyone's saying that they're going to be, Now,
if they ran off and were 14-2 in the 1 seed, would that surprise you?
Not that I would be surprised, but I'm not. I
would be more surprised if they were 8-8 than 14-2.
I'd be shocked if they were 8-8.
Yeah,
but I think that if they were 14-2, I wouldn't be as shocked. But I'm not counting on it. People are talking like they're going to go 14-2, 15-1, and I don't see it. I really don't.
No.
And they're going to win they're going to just fly through the playoffs.
I will say though, any team, especially come playoffs, you got Brady's experience. I think they have to be the favorite.
The postseason's going to be a different story than actually during the season.
I don't know. We'd have to see how the teams go, but
there's a factor nobody's talking about here, which is, to be honest with you, it's a lot of it's about Tampa Bay's defense. I really think, because hear me out. If Brady has to get into a shootout with Kansas City, he's not going to do that well. If Tampa Bay has to stop, if they have to deal with the Ravens in postseason, they're going to have a big issue. Tampa Bay really, that defense is going to be the difference between them going, 8 wins to 12 wins. Will their defense be effective or not? That is a major question here. Because Brady, he's known for being consistent. Yes. But is he known for being a quarterback that is really explosive and putting up a ton of points? Not as much as other ones. He probably can.
I mean, he also has never had this good of weapons on one team.
True. That is true.
And we averaged 28 to 30 points a year anyways.
You mean throws? Or, yeah.
No, I'm saying the Patriots as a team would always average close to 30 points.
Oh, yeah. So I just think a lot of it depends because it's also, remember, it's a whole new team, a whole new area, a lot of different things to learn. I just think it's a lot to expect out of somebody to go into a whole new setup, a whole new everything.
I don't think they win the championship, but I agree.
I would be amazed if they beat Kansas City or San Francisco. That being said, I feel like they are as dangerous as they're somewhere in between the Titans and the Ravens. They're somewhere in between that area where they could be explosive, like the Titans came out of nowhere and started, between the running game and the passing game, or somebody like the Ravens who you just don't know how to counter because he has enough weapons to throw to. But there's so many what ifs that anybody that says that they know where they're going to be, That's tough. And this is all, mind you, with the assumption that Brady doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is the other thing I kind of want people to understand is he's getting older, and they don't exactly have, the greatest O-line with Tampa Bay. Now, granted, he does throw the ball quickly, which, Steve pointed out. He does get it out quick, so the odds of him becoming injured are less, and he doesn't really run, so they are less. But, I know this is with any quarterback, but it could be one bad play, and all of a sudden Tampa Bay goes from a postseason contender to, yeah, you guys are not really doing anything. So it is something to consider.
It really is a bunch of what ifs. Like, we can argue, like, we're going off of what the Brady we've seen.
Yeah.
Who knows what he'll be like in a new system, which will probably, I've always said, is going to go cater to him.
Mhm.
But we don't know how it's going to be going forward. Also, this is the first time we've seen a quarterback his age say that he's trying to be elite. I mean, try to be in that elite category like he's been. Who knows if he takes another step back? I said last year that the step, like everyone said, he's not as good as he was last year. I chalked it up to his weapons and what he's had to work with. I don't really put a lot of stock in that. I think he's going to put up actually good stats, but I don't know. It's a big what if. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. And like James said, that the injury factor is high in that regard because he's older. He's got worse. He doesn't have a great O-line. And all it takes is one hit from Cameron Jordan, who he plays twice now, and then that's it. Like, that's how I feel. And I'm a big Brady guy. I hope he goes and wins the MVP next year.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think just my point of bringing that up was just to say, like, the Bucks are going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to go 14-2. Brady's going to win the MVP. They're going to fly through the season is just absolutely like pie in the sky thinking. Like, it's like
I will say, so I think all their picks need to be concentrated on their secondary. I mean, they have a lot of talent coming back in their front seven. Like, I'm looking – also, they had the best rush defense in the league last year. By a significant
they were very good on against the run.
So they gave up 73.8 yards a game last year. The next closest was the Jets at 86.9. Wow. That's a
pretty good
13.1 difference.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty significant. So I'm looking at their defensive depth chart right now. You got Sue, Vita Vea, Golston, and Jason Pierre-Paul up front. Ooh, that's a very good group of four. Their linebackers, they have Shaq Barrett, who was just like second in the league in sacks, and they have Levante David coming back from injury. Plus, they have that kid Devin White that was at LSU 2 years ago, 2 years ago. He was nasty. He is so fast. So I think if you could work on getting a couple pieces for your secondary, you could have a pretty formidable defense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Like, it's like we said, it's tough to tell before the draft, like how these, and especially once you get into like play, some teams could just come out of nowhere and be.
Yeah, this is all post draft, so they could have a terrible draft. And I could be telling you they're going to go 8-8 next week or 2 weeks. So, I will say I think both the 49ers and the Ravens are going to take a step back this year.
I think so. I mean, I don't think Lamar does as much as he did last year.
I think now that there's tape on him, full season worth of tape.
It.
Yep.
Like, that's what we said about Kaepernick. Like, Kaepernick had an unbelievable year. Yeah. And then they got tape on him, and then that's it. Like, they should.
Yeah, and then Kaepernick stunk.
Yeah. And same thing with Cam to an extent. Like,
Cam had that one outstanding year.
And then after that, he's been on a slow decline.
Last
year he got hurt.
But yeah.
But it's like once you get film on a guy, that's it. Like, you know his tells, you know how to get inside his head. Not
even that. Like, my thoughts is their division wasn't that good last year.
Correct.
The Browns are going to be better this year.
He's a big Baker guy.
The Steelers are going to be better this year.
The Steelers, yeah.
The Steelers might win that division still. If Ben's healthy and is 85 to 90% of what he normally is, that's a playoff team. Absolutely. That defense is good.
They just missed out on the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah, they only missed that one game with
yeah.
Duck Hodges and
Say no more.
Mason. What is it?
Rudolph.
Mason Randolph,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Rudolph, yeah. He was terrible.
Exactly. So it's one of those things that I think they'll definitely take a step back because their competition is getting better.
Yeah.
Plus, like, the Bengals aren't going to go 1-15 again, whatever they want. Like Joey Burrow season.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows with that? And well, I mean, this will obviously all change after the draft, but
Yeah.
we'll have to. It'll be interesting to see as we get closer and closer to the season.
Yeah,
we have to mention, because we are big fans of this of them. The XFL announced that they are not planning on returning next year.
That's
deeply
tough.
saddened, and terrible string of luck for this team, like this organization. Like I feel like it couldn't. This couldn't have come at a worse time, because I think they were gaining steam, and they were gonna, if they made it through like one full season, I think they could have been around for a while. I really do.
I still think there's a chance they come back.
But they can't. Like the thing is that makes me a little nervous is they said they could come back, but they have no plans on returning.
Vince is also putting it up for bankruptcy and for sale, so someone could swoop in and buy it. Imagine like Jeff Bezos swooped in, Bill Gates. So think about it. You got someone that has all that money.
What's his name that owns the Padres? The really rich.
Not sure.
He's an investor guy. That
Do you mean the Mavericks? We're talking about
what the hell's his name?
The guy who's on Shark Tank. Cuban? Mark Cuban?
Yeah, Mark Cuban, yeah.
He owns the Mavericks. Yeah.
Yeah, what if he were to buy?
I can see him buying it. He's crazy.
Because he's the kind of person.
Ballmer? Steve Ballmer?
Yes.
Steve Ballmer's a psychopath. You could buy it.
But I think you need somebody that is willing to
Amblazarian.
I'm not going to say or
he doesn't have the money for that, I don't think.
No, that's going to be an expensive buy. But somebody that's willing to invest in the XFL even more and maybe do more advertisements, more stuff. Because I think the foundation, the current groundwork for it is great.
The rules for the XFL were awesome.
Yeah,
they were amazing.
Yeah.
I was hoping that the NFL would take some of those rules for this year. Like the fact that you could hear in every huddle for the refs.
Mic'd up
the refs.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Mic'd up the refs, mic'd up the coaches as well.
The players, the in-game interviews.
Yeah.
McAfee interviewing on the sidelines every game would be unbelievable.
But that's the point, is it gets you more involved in the game and the experience with it. Mm-hmm. And if the XFL, if nothing happens with it, that's a shame. Because if they don't exist, they're not going to force the NFL to get better. The XFL was the only reason that the NFL might change some of their rules and might actually get better. Because right now they have no competition. They have no reason to change. Mm-hmm. So I want the XFL not only for them, but to make the NFL better. And I hope someone buys it, or I hope someone continues it, or who knows, Vince McMahon might wait a few months and then say, you know what, it's financially solvent to actually continue with this. And if they bring it back up, I bet you people will watch.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I know I'd watch it. They brought it back because it was so entertaining, and it was a nice spot. Like I think it's safe to say PJ Walker doesn't get that opportunity like to play for Carolina if he doesn't have the XFL.
No chance.
Because like it gives those guys that are like undrafted or cut guys that don't get the opportunity for an NFL team to maybe like go and showcase their talent. If not, play professional football for like another couple of years, like a year or two, or maybe get picked up like PJ or most of these guys. Like we talked about a couple of them, like in the show. Like it's an opportunity for these guys to go maybe get a chance to go play for an NFL team. So I think it was perfect. I love the rules. It was some days I liked watching it more than NFL. Well, I don't know if I want to say that. But like I'd watch, like it was so fun to watch. It was more fun to watch.
I always had more fun watching an XFL game than most NFL games I ever watched. Like I'm being dead serious.
It depends on the game, I guess. But I'd rather
any
watch
Vipers game.
I'd rather watch any XFL game over like a terrible NFL game. Like a game on like Sunday afternoon that's like two teams that I really don't care about. I'd rather watch an XFL game where I get to hear in the huddles, see like coaches making calls, see inside the like video replay booth. I don't get why they can't do that That's like one thing that I think they should do is like let you hear what the players in New York, the guys in New York are saying. Like, what do they see on this call? Like, I think I don't want to hear Gene Steratore talk. I want to hear the guy that's actually making the call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What that would do is it would help alleviate a lot of the issues of people having problems with a lot of these decisions these refs are making. Because the problem that we all have is all of us average people at home don't have a rule book that's like this thick with all the tiny little details of the experience that some of these guys have. And I might disagree with their call, but if I don't know their logic and reasoning behind it, it doesn't make sense. Whereas if you could see them argue it out and discuss it, you could say, okay, I understand the reason. I might disagree a little bit, but you know what? I'm not as mad or angry. The amount of NFL screw-ups that have been due to the refs making clearly terrible calls would be alleviated by us at least being able to view and be a part of the process where we could see at least their perspective on it. And I feel like with the NFL, that would get a lot of people back into watching the game. Because the amount of Saints fans that left the NFL due to last year in the playoffs, 2 years ago in the playoffs, is ridiculous. Yeah. So
that was a terrible call.
Yeah.
Hey, I had Rams money line. I thought it was a great call.
I liked playing the Rams in the Super Bowl, so I thought it was a great call too.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, it's definitely sad to see XFL go for now, but I hope it's not. I hope it's like we'll see it in either next year with another team or, see someone else restart it. Not another team, but another management team.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was getting dark in here.
Yeah.
It started with a lot of light out through my window, but now it's dark. One more quick thing. We're running out of time here, but I know this was something Jack wanted to say. It's a debate that I've had publicly with people on social media and a debate that I've had in personal life. Tell me why I'm wrong, Jack.
So, all right. So let me put this up first. James and John, we're talking the three debate, right?
Yep.
Rank these three players for me. Any order you want. Whatever order you think they are the best in. Kobe, Shaq, and Larry Bird.
Oh,
Steve's going to hate me. I want to go last. James, you go.
Give me a second. That's a tough one.
All right, Kobe, Shaq, Larry.
I'm going to have to
go.
You're
out of your mind, John.
Larry Bird played with plumbers, bro. Larry Bird didn't play with any athletic people. He played with Michael Jordan. That's it. Are you crazy? He's like the Babe Ruth of basketball.
John,
hold on. Steve, stop. Let James answer.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. All right. I was probably going to go Larry, Kobe, Shaq.
That's my man. John, do you realize you're in the wrong time period? Larry Bird was not playing with plumbers. He was playing with Magic Johnson, who's one of the top 5 players of all time. You know
how Babe Ruth considered one of the best players of all time? Wasn't he drunk the whole time?
Well,
that's how Larry
still would hit dingers,
wait a minute. To be fair, the level of competition back then was very different than now.
I also never watched any Larry Bird stuff.
So. What?
So
much more.
There's no low.
So me and John agree. Me and John agree.
Yeah, he's also never seen
James
Larry
and
Bird
Steve
highlight.
Agree.
Oh, what, we agree? I had no idea what your choices were.
Yeah, my 5 was the same as James. It was in order. Okay. My 3, sorry, Larry, Kobe, Shaq.
I went Kobe, Shaq, Larry.
Shaq and Larry could probably interchange for me, but Kobe's easy at 1.
Nope.
All right, I'll let John and Jack. You guys can have the floor first, and then all
right. Where do you want me to start? Because you're gonna pull up this exact.
We'll pull up stats. I'll go stats and other things. I'll go both ways, baby, because I know I have the right stuff here, and I have even more from the last time we had this debate. So.
All right. Well, you're the one that's trying to convince me. I'm the one that's standing firm. So you go first.
I'm standing firm. We're both in.
Has Larry Bird ever crossed up Michael? Kobe Bryant crossed up Michael.
Shaq did too. Just look at the All-Star game footage.
Oh my God.
Michael Jordan sucks anyway, though. Don't even get me started on that. I hate Michael Jordan so much.
We have a mutual friend that loves Michael Jordan. And I think that's what's tainted John's love for him. All right. So let me go through. What do you want first? The stats or what he adds to the game? Why he's a better player than them?
I just want to hear your reasoning of why you think Larry Bird is better than Kobe Bean Bryant, who some players say is the greatest player ever besides MJ, who NFL. NBA players say is better than LeBron. That's what I want to hear. I'll listen to you saying he's better than Shaq, but the fact that you're saying he's better than Kobe is blasphemous.
Well, let's look at this first of all. We want to say, let's look at his stats wise. We'll do that first because I am a guy. I do look at more of the impact he's made on the game more than stats, but everyone always said his stats weren't that great. But after looking at it,
are we talking Larry?
I'm talking Larry and how he fits into the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you three players. I'm going to look at your three players. Larry averaged 24 and some change. Shaq averaged 23 and some change.
Yeah.
For, by the way, people said he was the most dominant player ever. Like, they can't stop him. And don't even say his last few years weren't that great, which they weren't. Larry's last year, he was injured, and he still put up these numbers. And Kobe, hold on. Kobe put up 25 points, who didn't have many down years. So you're saying that Larry, I'll extend, he didn't score as much as Kobe, but to say that means it's all the way after not scoring 0.7 less points in his career is absolutely, I think that's pretty close.
I
what
mean,
are you gonna say about scoring? Sorry.
At the same time, like it's not all about scoring.
All right, let's go to the other stats, shall we?
Let's hear
rebounds. Larry averaged 10 rebounds.
Hold on. I just want to point out right now that Devin Booker is averaging more points in his career than Larry Bird and Shaq and Kobe.
Different.
I'm just saying that doesn't.
Different era of basketball. Like you can't. Like I'm looking at these guys. Like I'm looking at. They're kind of in the same kind of era, even though they're not. But they're closer than, let's say, Larry Bird to Devin Booker. But sorry, I know we're running out of time. Larry, I'll put it all together. Larry averaged 24, 10, and 6 with some change numbers in there. Shaq averaged 23, 10 rebounds, close to 11, and 2 assists, 2.5 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe averaged 25, 5, and 4 and some change. You can round up if you want to 5. So that means Larry averaged less than 1 rebound, less than a center, who I think is one of the best centers of all time. I would say the best. It depends on if you put Kareem as a center.
He's a center. I'd put him as the second best center.
It's tough to argue. That's another debate. But I can see why you'd say I think he's 1 or 2 centers of all time. He averaged less than a rebound less than him as a small forward.
Oh.
And he averaged 6 assists a game. He's the only player to be top. He's one of 3 players in NBA history to be top 3 in those 3 categories. I mean, top. What did I say? To be in the top 50 in those 3 categories. No other player beside Wilt and Bill Russell. Those are the only 2 other players to ever be that are in that top 50.
Oh, but Wilt, never mind. You're talking guys that played with plumbers.
Yeah.
Stop with the plumbers thing.
Dude,
but, all right, then say, all right, that makes Larry Bird even more impressive because he played with actually studs in his time there. So that makes it even more impressive. All right, thank you very much. He's also, he had 14 All-Star appearances, 5 MVP. Is that right? No, that's MJ, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. He had 3 MVPs back-to-back, which is in a league with Magic, with
plumbers.
Stop it, John. You're wrong. Tell me who played in the league then.
Plumbers. I don't know, a bunch of plumbers.
Dr. J. Dr. J's a plumber. That's right.
Dr. J,
Bad Boys.
If you're bringing up Dr. J in an argument about
that's like saying the Beastie Boys are the best rappers alive. It's like, yeah, of course, because they're rapping like beep 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 boop 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 bop.
Stop it. He's so he's played against better he played against Michael. He played against the Bad Boys. He played against Hakeem. He played against Kareem. He played against all these people, and he still won 3 straight MVPs in a row in that NBA. It's absolutely insane. Also, he has more MVPs than both of Kobe and Shaq combined, but we won't go there. Also, looking at it, I think when you look at championships, because Larry has less championships than Shaq and Kobe. You've mentioned that, Jack, before.
Yep.
How many of those championships was Kobe the best player on?
2.
2 of the championships. How
Yeah.
many was Shaq the best player on?
3. 3 out of his 4.
How many would you say Larry Bird was the best player?
2, because Cornbread Maxwell.
Hold on. That's a big – stop it. Stop it right now. He was the best player, but the reason Larry didn't get the MVP was because he was A, a rookie, and B, they wanted to give it to a veteran player.
Bro,
That's the only reason. He was a better player. He averaged more points.
A man named Cornbread.
He averaged more points than
Cornbread.
That's a plumber name if I ever heard of it.
Points. He averaged more points than Cornbread. It shouldn't have gone to him, but the people that are assigning the MVP didn't want to give it to Larry Bird because A, he had a problem with the media that year, and B, he was a younger player in the league. Absolutely. Look at the stats. He had better stats than Cornbread. I'll wrap it up with this. Last part of it, I say impact in the league. Kobe, no doubt, made a huge impact in the league worldwide. That's why I think he's a top player in all time.
Yeah.
Larry Bird saved the NBA. Him and Magic saved the NBA. The year before Larry Bird made it into the league, do you know what when the NBA Finals was played? It was played on tape delay. It wasn't played live. No one cared about the NBA before Larry Bird and Magic got in the league. I credit Magic to that too. Those two coming.
Who do you think better, Larry Bird or Magic?
I have in my top 5 Magic ahead of Larry.
And Magic is widely regarded as the second best Laker behind Kobe, correct?
But I said this too. Correct. But I said this
So
too.
how is that?
When
you just said correct.
Best player is different than best Laker. I say who made the biggest for that franchise, I think, and it's a debate. I think Kobe's like, when I think Lakers, I think Kobe. When I think Celtics, I think.
If you're shooting a rolled up piece of paper into a basket, are you yelling Larry Bird?
I didn't play in that time frame, so no.
All right.
Larry passed the ball.
Hold on. Yeah. Okay, James, go.
Hold up. That's not a fair comparison because the only reason that started was because of internet culture. That's not because of necessarily basketball in existence. That was because of internet culture with videos and YouTube and stuff. So even though I have no leg in this race, I do have to argue that's not a fair comparison.
I agree. But
by the way, he also has a better 3-point percentage. So you're saying he's a better shooter. He has a better shooting percentage.
Okay, because he was shooting over plumbers.
Stop with the plumbers thing. That's a
Steve, you would have been a top 50 player in the league
if I played in Bill Russell's time. If I played in Bill Russell's time, yes.
If your house was on fire and Larry Bird or Kobe Bryant had to save you, who would you choose to
Larry
save?
Bird. He's the clutchest player ever.
You're burning.
Larry Bird is the clutchest player of all time. He is.
That doesn't matter. Can he carry you and run you out the building?
Oh, what are you saying? I thought you were saying hit a shot.
No. I'm saying your house is on fire and you're inside the house. And
No, he has a bad back. What are you talking about?
The clear answer is
listen to me.
The clear answer is Gronk with that question.
Your house is on fire, and Kobe Bryant in his prime and Larry David in his prime are both outside, but you can only choose one of them to run in and save you. Who are you trusting more?
Well, the thing you just said was Larry David. If I heard right,
did I say Larry David?
So I don't want an 80-year-old guy to
Kobe Bryant or Larry David. Which one?
I guess I'd have to go with Kobe Bryant.
I'd go with Kobe in that situation.
But so
I just think it is.
Oh, by the way, he has the second best winning percentage of all time too.
Because he was playing against plumbers, bro. If you look at the stats. So Larry Bird was in the league from. Sorry, I'm scrolling down. So his age 23 to 34.
I think it was 14 years. I think it was 14 seasons in the league.
23 to 35 years old.
Yeah.
Shaq's 23. We'll even do 20 to 30.
By the way, Larry Bird's best season and Shaq's best season, he scored more points than Shaq. I just want to throw that out there.
You realize that Shaq also had another bona fide Hall of Famer with him, right? And don't get me wrong, McHale and Pat, too. I just said, hold on. But McHale, and we had this talk.
Yeah.
McHale and Parrish are probably like mid-30s, 40s. You could, like, Kobe and Shaq are arguably two of the top 5 players of all time. There's mouths to feed. If you
also, if you're trying to take away from, if you're trying to say, oh, Shaq and Kobe won more championships, they played with top 5 players. So why is that like less impressive? Like, why is that more? If you're going to say that since those two won more championships,
you're the one that brought up championships. I didn't even say championships.
No, that was that's an argument that we've had. Though both those guys have more championships.
No, they do.
Right. But if you're going to say that, if they're going to bring that up, then I just think that you can't say like, oh, he was playing with another Hall of Famer. He had mouths to feed. And by the way, Larry did feed those mouths because he averaged 6 assists a game.
Okay. Well, hold on. Let's pull this up. What is
I think we're running out of time for this.
Yeah, we are. We should have done this earlier.
We should have. This is
We'll get a part 2 going sometime.
We'll get an argument part 2.
Okay.
He also, by the way, Larry Bird's the only player to win MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year. I know that doesn't have to do with his player, but he won those 3 big.
Steve,
awards.
we gotta wrap this bad Larry up.
Good one.
We're gonna have to do. Yeah, this is a bad Larry. Damn. But yeah, so the correct order of the top 5 greatest players of all time is Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, Magic Johnson.
That's a solid 5.
That's the correct.
My 5, which I think is correct, is Michael and LeBron. We have no debate.
Mm-hmm.
Then Kareem, Magic, Larry, and I have Kobe right there.
I have Kareem at 6, and then I actually wrote this out just for you, Steve. I got.
If you have Larry any lower than 7, I'm literally going to just end the call right now.
I have Kareem 6, Bird 7, Wilt 8, Duncan 9, and I put Kevin Durant 10.
I haven't thought that low yet. So I just got to Shaq and I stopped after Shaq.
All right, just saying.
But I'll think about those last 3 for you, and I'll get back.
Oh, I want to hear it. That works.
I don't want to just come up with spit it out. I want to think about it and have a real answer for you.
Hey, all right. It's not whatever helps you sleep at night, pal. Because Kobe, Bean, Bryant, and Shaq were absolutely better than Larry Bird.
Well, what we could do, guys, is we can have a part 2 to this another time.
We can
come back.
We'll definitely have.
Well, there will be part 2s, both.
Yeah,
at
both
the water
spots.
cooler and in Big Red Zone.
Oh,
yeah, we'll definitely have to, and we'll hopefully when this is all over, get you on at the studio.
Absolutely.
We want to be at the studio. We haven't had a live show at the studio yet.
And then we'll set up a solid 2v2 or 2v3, 3v2, whatever, water cooler versus Big Red Zone game.
Oh man,
we could. I'll bring on a third. Let's do it.
It'll be like The Office when they played the basketball game. Warehouse versus The Office.
I never watched The Office.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I never got into The Office.
Jack, that's your homework. That's your homework for the next time I see you. At least watch.
I do have to start that, but right now I'm watching Ozark for our book club.
Okay.
Okay.
I might put Larry David. I might put Larry Bird at 1 because of that. That's crazy.
Nah, but yeah, I've never seen The Office.
I want to thank Jack for coming on this episode. Jack, one more time, where can they find at the water cooler?
Yeah, let me pull it up. Sorry, the letters throw me off. You can find me on Twitter at jmoran8996 or Instagram at jm8996. And Twitter is WTT Water Cooler, and Instagram is WT in the Water Cooler. So thanks for having me on, boys. It was definitely a fun time.
Yeah. We'll have to do it again soon.
Chef Noah got us a little off.
Yeah, he did get us off the top. We did get
Shout out Rob Marcello, my boy.
But again, thank you for coming on. Also, thanks James as always for joining, along with our producer John. Still stay safe, everyone. I know it's crazy times and everyone's going insane, but just stay home and we'll get through this together soon. So be safe and have a great week, everyone.